You're watching the Isaiah Factor Uncensored.
And welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We're halfway through. Thanks for hanging in there. Tonight we're discussing the housing market. And depending on where you stand, you could call it a crisis. Recent reports point to only 250,000 affordable homes are available in the United States, across this country. 250,000. That's it. With that said, and that sorry stat floating around out there and us telling you about the super high demand for homes, I wanted to know if buying a home was even attainable for Americans anymore.
Well, it depends on who you are financially and what you're ready to do to purchase a home. It can be out of reach depending on how much money that you have, how much you're willing to spend. So one of the things you really need to take into account is what you look like financially, because it very well might be out of reach for you. And since you mentioned COVID, there are a lot of families that might have had dual incomes that may now be down to one income. So those kinds of things really will impact whether or not you're able to get in this market and play.
And Noel, when we take a look at the numbers, and that report also indicated more homes around the country are now at $1 million.
Yes, that is very true. So I just closed on a $1.2 million home yesterday. This particular couple has been building this home for over 2 years. So they walked into this home with over $400,000 of equity. And so that means now their home is actually worth $1.6 million on the day of closing. That is a telltale sign and a true indicator of the way that the prices are increasing in the current market. So it does make it a little bit out of reach for those first-time home buyers.
For those who are trying to buy affordable housing around the country, what should they do at this point, Mish?
There's a few things you need to do. Again, know who you are financially. What do you look like on paper, at the bank? Who are you? Is this a conventional loan we're using? Is it a cash thing? Are we using gift funds from family members? You kind of need to know what you look like, because what you look like on paper is how you're presenting yourself to a seller. Some of the other things that some of our colleagues will do is get their clients pre-underwritten. What that means is this: get with the lender before you start shopping. Get into your credit report and let's go ahead and research, reveal, and remedy credit problems before we put in the offer. It may allow you to close sooner. So instead of asking for 45 and 60 days to close, maybe we can get it done in a shorter period of time. There are other things that we can also do, which is lean a little less on the seller. Let's not ask for a few thousand in seller contribution to closing costs. I'll go ahead and pay for the title policy or the HOA documents. There are a few things you can do to make this a little more attractive to the seller.
Noel, what would be your suggestions for a buyer out there in this tough market?
So my suggestion for any buyer that's looking to purchase a home, whether it's for your first time, second or third time, is to make sure that you have money saved. To piggyback off of what Misha said, we want to make sure that we are not going in as a buyer asking for things like closing costs, asking for home warranties, asking for the seller to pay for a survey, things of that nature. We want to submit something that we refer to as a clean offer. That means straight up offer, not asking for anything at all, and being able to do things to get creative with your offer to make it a little bit more eye-catching, like double earnest money deposit. Well, if we're doing a double earnest money deposit, that means that buyer is going to have a little bit more money at hand when we first begin the home buying journey, if you will.
And let me ask both of you this: how can you avoid getting into one of these bidding wars? Because we're hearing more and more about bidding wars here in the city of Houston, around the country, where people are paying well over the asking price in order to get that home.
Yes, Isaiah, I just literally before our segment just had a call where we were outbidded, my buyers and I, on a home that was $640,000. They had an all cash offer for $750,000. My suggestion to avoid bidding wars is to go new construction. Now, that does not necessarily mean that you will not have any bidding war, but it does lessen the chance of having a bidding war. You're also able to do things like customize your home as well if you go new construction. But if you go new construction as a buyer, make sure that you have a real estate professional to represent you, because the sales rep at the new construction community represents the builder and not you.
Mish, go ahead.
I absolutely agree. And a bidding war is not going to be avoided. I think that's just the true answer to your question. We're not at a place where we can avoid them. The competition is fierce. In Houston, inventory has dropped by nearly 20% in January as compared to January of last year. But the home prices have gone up tremendously. I think by almost, 19, almost 20%. It's absolutely unreal. So we're not going to get away from the war. One of the first things you need to do, however, is ask yourself, what are you waiting for? If you actually have an answer to that question, what are you waiting for in terms of buying your home? You're not ready. If there's something that you're waiting for to happen, you're not ready to do this. So to Noelle's point, get your money together. Again, know who you are financially. Consider new construction so that you don't have to fight for the home, but be ready.
All right. Well, we want to thank you both for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. We appreciate your time tonight. Thank you both.